I'm Bill Robertson. I'm the Extension Cotton Agronomist in Arkansas, and proud to be able to share the program today with Adam Chappell. I'm going to talk a little bit about basics of soil health, and then we'll turn it over to Adam. But when we look at soil health, USDA defines soil health as the continued capacity of soil to function as a vital living ecosystem that sustains plants, animals, and humans. And Matt, today in your session, I thought you did a great job of giving kind of an overview and the basics of soil health and why that's important. And if y'all need to know more on the basics of soil health and why it's important, you need to go to Matt Fryer's talk tomorrow. You did a great job. But anyway, when we look at soil health and some of the things that go on in soil health, I find that a lot of these groups are farmer-led. And Arkansas is no exception. In Arkansas, we have the Arkansas Soil Health Alliance. Adam is a member of that. But this is made up of a group of producers. Mr. Taylor's a member of the Arkansas Soil Health Alliance. But this group is made up of all producers. And me as part of the Arkansas Soil Health Partners through the university. We have the University of Arkansas, Arkansas State University. We have USDA folks and all that. We're all part of that. And the Soil Health Alliance kind of helps serve as kind of a advisors or gives us directions on where they would like us to go with our research. So when you look at how do we get soil health, and when you look at what USDA NRCS has, they define 4 key things to come up with soil health. And sometimes, we'll go into these a little bit more, but sometimes, I like to use analogies on things. And so sometimes I think of these 4 things as a 4-cylinder engine. And I know some farmers that are doing 2 of these things or 3 of these things, or sometimes just 1 of these things. And think about that little 4-cylinder engine. If you're just firing on 2 cylinders, it's not going to run very good, is it? Probably won't run at all. You can kind of get it to run on 3. So let's look at those things. Keep the soil covered as much as possible. Mr. Taylor, you talked about armoring the soil, and that's what we do. In some of the work that Amanda Free and I work with, and a lot of this is sponsored through Cotton Incorporated funding. But we see on the top, we have almost no-till cotton. Wes, you talked about that. And that's what we like to see. We run a little Forerunner plow, but we have no bare soil showing. All you see is cover crop. Here, this bottom part is a field that was stale seedbed. It had a cover, but by the time we plowed the water furrows, you don't see the cover. And when we armor the soil, we impact soil temperature. Where we have the cover crop, you can walk on that barefooted. Where you have bare soil, you can't walk on it barefooted. Well, if you can't walk on it barefooted, how are our soil microbes going to survive there? Keep plants growing throughout the year to feed the soil. And that's what I want with a cover crop. My main objective is to feed the soil microbes. Here we got the almost no-till with cover on the top. Here's a stale seedbed where they went in, picked the cotton, shredded the stalks, put the seed out, or hit the rows, and then put the seed out. So we did a little bit of tillage there. But look, after a rain, even just that little bit of tillage, we still had water standing in the middles. And so some of the things I see, how do we evaluate soil health? One of the things I do is if we split a field to get farmers to look at, I get them to go out there after a big rain. A lot of times there's still water standing in the fields where they've done some tillage. In the field where they didn't, on the side where they didn't do tillage, it soaks in like a sponge. Matt and a lot of our soil scientists go through and measure infiltration rates, and I think, Adam, I'm hoping maybe you're showing some of the differences in infiltration rates. But there's some big differences there can be. And all that goes to feeding what I call the bugs in the soil, the soil microbes, the bacteria, the fungi. When all the little things are doing good, then the bigger things that we can see, like the earthworms, are doing well. But there's the fungi, the mycorrhizae fungi. They do a lot to help us. Here's some things that I pulled off the internet and looked at. I found that I thought was kind of amazing. I'm a very visual person, so I like to pull these things up like this. But from information from Ohio State University, one thing that jumped out at me: when you look at 1 cup of healthy soil, there can be as much as 60 miles of hyphae, from the mycorrhizae fungi. The fungi, they have a symbiotic relationship with the plant. They get energy from the plant, and these hyphae grow in the plant and then out. And I've heard people say the analogy of like hyphae is is bags of fertilizer with a miner hat, because they go out and help. And this slide shows, it says they can extend the root system of a plant several thousand times. So it makes the phosphorus, makes potassium, makes things so much more available to the plant when they have the help from the mycorrhizae fungi. So they do a lot to help us. Found this on the internet. An acre of healthy soil contains about 10,000 pounds of living material, fungi, bacteria, earthworms, all that. So that's equivalent to about 2 African elephants. That's a lot. And when I'm thinking about feeding cows, you know, a cow will need about 2% of her weight in dry matter per day to sustain. So we have to feed those to keep those populations up. So sometimes I drive through the country, you know, look at this. Here's rows. They're, you know, we harvested our corn, we burned our stalks, we hit the rows up. There's nothing growing out there. How much living material is out there now? It may be just 2 skinny sheep that we picked up at the sale barn. And Adam, maybe we can take some of these skinny ewes like that and put on here and we'll put some weight on. But anyway, it makes a big difference on what's out there and then how fast that population builds up and keeps our soil healthy. The number 3, diversify as much as possible. Diversify your cash crop. And when I came to Arkansas in '95, Adam, I don't know how old you are. I remember working with your dad, but 90% of the cotton in Arkansas was cotton after cotton after cotton after cotton. Never had anything on it but cotton. And now that we have I don't know of anybody that doesn't have cotton in a rotation now. We just don't have the straight cotton. And so cotton behind corn, and we're so lucky to have peanuts now. Cotton behind peanuts is going to bring a great deal of potential to the cash crop cotton because of that diversity. So then when we do cover crops, having a diversity in our cover crop species adds things that help us. And Adam, I'm hoping you're talking about what the diversity in cover crops do to help with the insect populations and all of those things. So that's a real thing. So with our diversity is kind of, we do that in row crop, we do that when we plant. Disturb the soil as little as possible. So these top things we're doing, I feel like we're helping to build soil structure. Then when we come in with tillage, we destroy that. Say I want to keep the soil covered, feed the soil microbes, keep them going and all that. Think of that as like building a house. We build soil structure, we're building a house. And we till it, what do? We tear it down. So we got a lot of people that build a house, tear it down, build a house, tear it down. And so we got to think about that, and not destroying that soil structure is one thing. So that's all 4 cylinders. Okay, we got this 4-cylinder engine right here. Now, how can we speed this thing up? See, there's a turbocharger on that one. How can we slap a turbocharger on there? Introduce livestock into it. And it's something that Adam's doing, the Taylors have done this. I think that's kind of our next step, is that just puts these 4 things into overdrive when we do that. I wanted to show this. I saw this on social media, and I don't know, Ed, I don't know if I've ever had an original idea, so I see things from others and steal this. Okay, but look at this. This is from James Anderson in 1797. A farmer who has a large pasture should have it divided into 15 to 20 divisions of equal size, blah, blah, blah. It would please the animal's palate to induce them to eat it greedily and fill their bellies before they thought of roaming about, thus destroying it with their feet. I'm satisfied that in some cases the actual produce of the same field by judicious management in this respect compared to bad management would be augmented 4-fold in the same season. So with our mob grazing, some of the things that we're doing getting toward regenerative agriculture, it's not new. It's new to me and new to some of us, but it's not new. And so with that, you know,